walking up here, I was talking to Matt. I said, when was it that I last did this? Because this is my second now address to letter to the Monogram Club. And he said, well, we were trying to think about that, and I think you did it in the Monogram room, and that was probably 13 or 14 years ago. So when all of you were just in elementary school, that was the last time I did this. So a little rusty, but what I found in preparing for this is, now as a parent of a young student athlete, it gives me and my wife Paula great joy to come back and to be surrounded by him and his friends and by people like you who are accomplishing such wonderful things. And I know as young people, there's the tendency to be looking ahead. And you should be looking ahead. And in the short term, that's what might be coming next week in school or on your team, or in a couple of years when you're the leaders of your team, or when you leave Notre Dame and go on and pursue your careers and develop relationships and start families. But these moments that we're spending right now are really special because they're great opportunities to reflect on the path that got you here. And I'm sure that there are some of you in here who had parents or grandparents that went here, that had Notre Dame memorabilia on the wall and knew from the time you were young that you wanted to come here and fulfill your dream. I guess that there are probably more of you, though, that were like me, that didn't have a connection to the University of Notre Dame. I grew up as an Air Force kid. My dad, at the end of his career, worked in the athletic department for Air Force. We had moved around a lot. My only time on Notre Dame's campus before I came here for my recruiting visits was traveling with the Air Force football team when I was in 4th grade. I think that was one of the years, I think the 4th year in a row that Notre Dame had lost the Air Force. Some of you, I think, can remember those days right before Lou Holtz. And thinking back, and preparing for my night tonight, it made me think back of the reason I chose to come to Notre Dame, which might be similar to some of you. And I'm sure some of you get this question when you go out and talk to people and you tell them that you're an athlete at Notre Dame. And I have a good story now to tell. And I said, well, I wanted to play basketball at the highest level. Academics were important to me. I really had no idea. In fact, I almost didn't come to Notre Dame because the weekend before, I took a visit to Stanford. And I don't know if any of you have been to Stanford's campus or to Palo Alto in the fall, but it's awesome. I mean, the sun was shining the whole time. The guys that were my hosts took me to a great party. I met a freshman on the women's basketball team. The week later, the coach called me up and said, hey, so-and-so was asking, are you going to come here? It was actually, I didn't know at the time, reflecting back, reminds me that coaches weren't always that truthful when they were recruiting you. And I was ready to commit right then. And my dad said, you know what, you told Notre Dame you'd go and take a visit, and you should really go and see if it's for you. And so I said, okay, I'll go do it. And showed up here on a football weekend, and it rained the entire time. My host's parents were here that weekend. And on Saturday night after the game, he said, hey, my parents are here. I want to go hang out with them. They gave me some money to take you out. Here's $40. So I took the $40, and me and the other recruit that I was with went to a movie. And so, I don't tell people really that story. But reflecting back, it was a lot by, I think, luck that I ended up here. But then in looking at my time here, it really wasn't until I went on and played basketball and retired and started doing other things in life that I realized just how unique of a path it is to come here as a student athlete and what it means. And it's unique in the sense that you're not only offered, but you're expected to pursue excellence in the classroom, compete at the highest level for national championships with the best teams in the country, and all the while live up to a standard and a set of values, including personal integrity, a commitment to service, compassion for others. And just think about all of the places that you were recruited. And I'm sure there were some wonderful academic institutions. And I'm sure there were some of the best teams and athletes, teammates that could have been yours. But just think how many places combine those three aspects as a student athlete. In echoing a little bit of what Coach Corrigan had to say, right now, obviously, and this is something that I've been quite interested in following, college athletics is going through a radical transformation, right? There are some that say that the relationship that you have as an athlete, should be separate than what you are as a student. And that it's a relationship where you're getting a raw deal, right? You're not getting fair value for what you're providing to the university. And I think it's a deeply cynical take on what it means to be a college athlete. Because I think, despite all the complexities and the nuances of the argument, I think it really distills it down into a transactional type relationship, right? And you'll go on in your life and have many of those. I mean, your career is going to be one of those, despite the fulfillment it brings to you and the happiness and the sense of identity. At the end of the day, I mean, that's a transactional type of relationship. But then think about the relationship that you have with your family and your closest friends. I mean, that's not based really on self-interest, right? I mean, it's based on a commitment to one another and a shared set of values. And really, when I think about my relationship to Notre Dame, to the community of athletes that have played before me, that have come after me, that's how I think about the relationship in this place. It's one of the few in your life that's going to persist beyond the time when you're an athlete, beyond your professional career. Think about how special that is and how many of those that you're going to have in your life. So I would encourage all of you, after you leave here, to really think about that and to really put the work in to maintaining that relationship, the same amount of work that you're going to put into maintaining your personal relationships and the relationship with your family. Because I think that this community that you're part of right now, you'll find is just as important, just as impactful, and just as meaningful as those. So I wish you guys all the best of health, continued success, and happiness. And once again, it's an honor and congratulations on earning your monograph.